Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Hump Day Hotline on the
Hump
Overreaction
Day.
Sports Network, powered by Believe. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. That guy sitting right over there next to me is my great friend Jay Spence the King. You can find him on Twitter, apparently at JSTK. So is that official? Because I know you had the old one, then you had Jay Spence the King, and now it's JSTK.
You know what? I have. Last time I looked, it's been a while. It wasn't available. I'm gonna look again. If it's available, I'm definitely switching it.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
I love it because I know, like, you sent me the new update. Well, I guess your iPhone automatically sends it like, hey, this is the new contact. So I know that's your contact for a while. But anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, I digress. But welcome everybody into the show. So good to have you. Please do us a favor. Please please subscribe. Hump that like, as we like to do here on Wednesdays. Please subscribe, whatever platform you are consuming this vidcast on, live right now, YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook X, whatever it is. Please do us a favor. Please subscribe. Please hump on that like. If you are consuming this podcast or in podcast form on, I don't know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever day it might be, please also like and please subscribe. Leave us a review, a comment, and do us a favor. Share if you love the content that we're putting out on this network, because we are still somewhat. It's so weird, Spence, because this isn't a new thing, but it's a new thing. You know what I mean? Like this has been here for years, but like it really kind of launched in April. So anyways, if you like what we've been giving you since April, please tell a friend. But yeah, man, it's always good to chat with you about our Buffalo Bills. We've been doing this for a long time, and it doesn't really get old. I mean, I guess we get burnt out a little bit, but it doesn't really get old, right?
Yeah. No, we definitely get burned out. I would say that. I think this year, I think I was the most burnt out than I've been, which is why I took so much time off. But
Yeah, you needed it.
no,
You
it
needed it
does.
bad.
Yeah, it did. But now you're kind of doing the grind that I was doing. So yeah, I don't. I'm gonna say, like, I feel for you. I do feel bad for you.
A lot of it is the 30 to 35-minute shows and I don't know what we're talking. We're just vibing, bro. Like, it's the 30 to 35-minute shows. If everything we were doing were still an hour, and I know there's a lot of listeners, watchers, fans that have enjoyed our content, mine, yours, John's, Jerry's, that pine for, man, I wish, like, we'll get in the comments once in a while. I wish the shows were still an hour long, or I mean, there were times you and I went, what, hour 10, hour 15. If they were still like that, it probably, yeah, would have me a little more burnt. I mean, it's just a matter of time during this season where, like, I'm gonna crash, not bad crash, but be like, okay, I'm done. You know what I mean? But
Yes. Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, I'm enjoying it at this point. It's been fun. You and I have talked for years about building our quote unquote own brand, and it's been fun to do this and see this thing happen, even though it's costing money and not making any money at this point. But yeah, there's bills. The bill, we always make the joke when we have sponsors, got to pay the bills. There are bills, ladies and gentlemen.
It's true.
There
It's
are
true. It's not.
absolutely.
It's just not pod talk. Like the case says, coach talk. It's just not pod talk. It's true. We got to pay some bills. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Speaking of paying the bills, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. Let's see. They got their butts whooped in Baltimore. I don't feel like we're not really going to talk about that. I don't feel like they laid down. I felt like the Jacksonville Jaguars got outclassed, and like they didn't even belong in the stadium with us. I feel like the Bills kept pushing. There was that revival that they had there at the beginning of the second half, and then obviously the razzle dazzle play that should never have happened, and then they just got the rest. They got completely curb stomped after that. But where are you at on that loss? I think I've seen you put some stuff out on Twitter, but just for the fans, is it just behind you? Waking up today, I'm good, basically.
Literally the next morning, I was like, okay, it's on to Houston. It's one of those games where you look at it and it's like, who Josh is,
Yep.
what the defense normally looks like, even with the injuries. Like, I don't think weeks 1 through 3 was a fluke. Maybe the type of scoring in week 3 isn't going to be consistent with the rest of the year.
Fair.
But I don't think those first 3 weeks were a fluke. So I just look at it like one of those. And first of all, let me rewind. Sometimes you just got to give credit when it's due. You know what I mean? And the Baltimore Ravens showed up. I think, Derrick Henry showed up again for the second straight week. I think Lamar Jackson showed up. He was super accurate. And I just think, I'm sorry.
Do you remember what I said to you last week about Derrick Henry?
What's that?
I said, can we just let him have his 70-yard run like the first series of the game so we can get out of the way?
And he got it the first damn play. Like,
I should have
and then he
bet it.
didn't get it out the way. But he didn't even get it out the way. He got it like he got another one. It's like, dude.
I should have bet
And
it.
but to the point, I think they showed up, and I think that they played extremely well, both offensively and defensively. So I want to first give the Baltimore Ravens some credit.
Yeah.
As a I guess like a silent Ravens fan when they don't play the Bills, I would like to ask the question if everybody still thinks that Lamar can't throw the ball. I would like to know if people still think that he wasn't worthy of MVP. I know one game doesn't prove it, but I'm just talking about the crowd that feels like he's not a quarterback. And it's like he just showed it again.
So I feel like you're right, but I don't feel like this might necessarily. I mean, he completed. Did he throw or complete 18 passes? And only like 2 or 3 of them were downfield. Most of them were screen passes. But still, I mean, he was doing his thing, and I feel like he's progressed so much as a passer. It's a ridiculous argument even to have anymore. I mean, Lamar Jackson is a ridiculously talented quarterback in the NFL,
beast.
Right? Yeah, he's impossible. So let's move on at this point because it's one game. I said that on the Aftermath show. It's one game, and for all intents and I keep saying that for whatever it matters. At this right, I get trapped in phrases. For whatever it matters. At the end of the season, we're probably not going to remember this game, and more than likely they'll build off of it and they'll come out of it the other side better. But the NFL has weighed in on the NFL has weighed in. Our first topic for the evening, the NFL has weighed in on what is allegedly stemming from the domestic abuse charge or not charge, the domestic abuse warrant, and then the charges were dropped for Von Miller's arrest last year. They've weighed in and they have suspended him for 4 games, for the next 4 games, which is, it puts the Buffalo Bills in a difficult situation because he has been, productive this season. He looks to be back to his old self. I don't know where I fall on this whole thing. There's an aspect of, I'm not sure, inside the conversation of when it all happened last year, it was very much a surprise and what is going on. This isn't the type of thing that happens to Bills players generally, specifically in the Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott era. I mean, normally, I'm not saying it's never happened, but generally speaking, the character of the player that they draft and that they go after. So it was a huge surprise last year, even bigger surprise when the charges were dropped. Because then it was like, well, is it real? Is it not real? We don't know. And then the NFL does what the NFL does, which is basically operate at a snail's pace for things like this. I mean, as much as everybody's crying out for Rashee Rice to be punished, he's going to be. It's just a matter of when. The timing. It'll probably be 6 months after today, right? It'll probably be a 2025 suspension for him if he's not in jail. But what's weird to me about this situation is the conversations that I'm seeing on Twitter, social media, and then even around the pressers today, which is basically that, so Solomon's just going to step in for him, right? And it's like, yep. And I'm like, regardless of where you land on Von Miller, there's a great, I mean, you can't, I mean, it's not Stephon Diggs. You can't replace Stephon Diggs, but there's a measure of, he's been one of your most productive pass rushers, right? I don't know that it's just like, we're going to play that guy over there instead. That guy that's been over there, he's going to play and he's going to do fine. And I'm just like, okay.
Well, I think it depends on how you want to view it. Like, it depends on what side of the coin you fall on here. Because I think if you want to view it from a perspective of like, okay, he deserved it, then you go back to like last year or the year before. Like, you go back to last year because he only had 1 tackle, or you go back to the year before and it's like, well, he was injured. And after, so there's several different conversations to have. If you're on the side where you feel like, hey, man, this is wrong, he shouldn't be suspended, especially the timing of it right now. Like, you could have did this last year. He was healthy last year. Why didn't you do, there's all the questions that are thrown out there.
Yeah,
I get it. So it just depends on what side of the coin you fall on here. But I think, you're right. He was, or he has been this season, one of our best pass rushers. So it's definitely I think it's going to hurt. But at the same time, this last game, well, we got blown out this last game, but this last game, he didn't even have 20% of the snaps. Like, I think he was only on the field for, I forget what Sal posted, but it was like single digits. Like, he wasn't out there for a good portion of of the game. So again,
it was 8. Was it 8 plays, 7, 8 or 9 plays? It was, it wasn't a lot.
Something like that. So when I look at it, it's just like, I get it. It's Von. He's a big part of the pass rush and the defense. But I just think one game, I'm not going to fall, I'm not going to jump off the cliff. I think that Sean McDermott has impressed me with his defense this year. And I'm going to stick with it. I think he's doing a great job with the defense.
Yeah, he is, and it's not this conversation, to your point at the very beginning, isn't about did he deserve to be suspended or not.
Yeah.
Number one, we don't necessarily live in a space, you and I, where we can say deserved or did not deserved. We weren't there. We don't know what happened. Clearly, usually when there's smoke, there's fire. It's the NFL comes down really hard, generally on these types of cases, as far as whether or not charges are followed through with or they're not followed through with. I'm speaking specifically to just losing the player, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I retweeted somebody today that what did they say? They said, let's see if I can find it. Somebody today, John Thomas on Twitter said, Von Miller has been an absolute mess of a signing for the Buffalo Bills. And he put laugh out loud with a face palm, #Bills Mafia. And I retweeted and said, this is not a false statement. I mean, the amount of money that they paid this guy, right? And then he played well the first year that he was here up until the point where that he got hurt. Then there was all of the Odell Beckham, he's coming, he's going to sign, and all of that stuff, and all of the burn it to the ground stuff. And I came here to win a Super Bowl, and I thought I was going to be a Buffalo Bill, and this is where I belong, and I want to play with Josh Allen, the greatest quarterback that's in the game right now. Like all of this stuff, and then you get into like last year. I'm healthy. I'm only going to be out 6 months. And then all the way through the year, obviously this whole situation, and then through the year, and then he's like, I should even have been playing last year. And it's like, well, and now, and right. And then he comes back, and then he like puts the carrot in front of you. Look at me, I'm back. And you're like, oh my God, Von Miller's back. And then all of a sudden he's gone for 4 weeks. I just, it's a little bit of it's a clown car. Is it not a clown car?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I'm trying my heart. I'm on my best behavior for you right now, Joe.
I know you are. I know where you land personally on this situation as far as the player being in the organization. I'm just talking about the football player himself. That's where I'm just trying to
I understand.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are trying to do that. Or not trying. A lot of people are doing that successfully.
Right.
But for me, it's just one of those things where I look at it where it's like I have a difficult time. And this is just in general. This is even outside of football. I have a difficult time when I find out or when I know. So, and I know a lot of people are going to say, "Well, this is all alleged to be true." Okay, well, what about the revenge porn? And what about no? I'm just saying I can
right.
kind of list things that
you're right
that show that this is a pattern for this guy. And so, like for me, I get to that place where I realize that a person is a dirtbag, and then I don't want any association.
I'm out. Yep.
Right. So I'm trying. What I'm saying is like I respect. From a football perspective, it's like the dude is amazing. I've been a Von Miller fan since early days in Denver. I love Von Miller.
Yeah.
My opinion on him has changed. So
yeah, it's fair. No, it is hard to separate the two, right? It's such a mess, and it just goes back to that tweet that I just read, right? I mean, Von Miller has been an absolute mess of a signing for the Bills, and yep. What was the number of the contract? 160 million? Is that what it was for 4 years?
Something incredibly.
No, it wasn't 160. I don't remember. 120 million for 4 years. I can't remember off the top.
Well, I appreciate him like redoing his contract last year. He kind of bet or this last season. He kind of bet on himself, but it to me it's just one of those things where it's like even with the restructured or the new deal where the money is different, he hasn't given us the production worth the money we've given him. And then on top of that,
go ahead. No, on top of that, I was just gonna say I think that's shady as well, because I saw a tweet out there from Spot Track that had he not restructured his contract, he would have lost $3-something million or $4 million instead of $330,000. So to me, there was an expectation that this suspension, this and like losing all of your game checks for 4 games was coming.
But he took a big L. Like, if you go and look at what he was making previously compared to what he's making now, he took a loss. So
he bet on himself. He bet on himself for sure, which is what you were saying. But I think it was also staving off the loss of his base salary. Oh, you mean to tell me that if I restructure and bet on myself because I know I'm healthy now, I can hit all of these easy markers, right? I can hit all these easy things to escalators in my contract, but from a base salary standpoint, they're gonna suspend me. I'm only gonna lose $330,000 instead of $3.5 million. I think the number is 3.4 or 3.5 million. It's shady, bro. It's shady.
Yeah. No, I mean, to me, the whole thing about it is disappointing from a fan's standpoint. I get it now. I guess when I speak a lot of times, whether it be on Twitter or even on these pods, it's because I'm a fan. So I know a lot of times, people who watch and listen to these shows view you and I or some other people that they may listen to on a weekly basis. They look at it differently. Like our opinions can't just be our opinions and feelings, but we're fans.
We
And
are.
so a lot of times because I kind of want, I feel like sometimes this needs to be said when Joe tweets something or when he posts something on Facebook or we say something on the show, it's our opinion and it's the way
Mhm.
we feel. It's our personal feelings.
That's
And
right.
so, you know, we respect everybody else's. I think again, back to Joe's original question, losing him as a football player is going to hurt because we're already down Matt Milano. We're already down. I don't know if this week Teron is going to be able to play or not. He was in practice this week, but we're down him. We're down so many people. So it matters when you lose one of your top players in any position on this defense right now. It absolutely matters. But I just wanted to be clear from my point because I don't do live shows often anymore. And so
Right.
when I just want people to know when you're thinking about me, I don't fool with this dude. I don't
That's right.
fool with the way it's being handled,
That's right.
and I don't like it. So
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah, no, you're good. And Sarah says, I'm sure the Bills knew all this too, despite them
Yep.
right now saying that they didn't. And she's saying that they're also sure that that's why they worked out this agreement. And I put in the little thing scrolling at the bottom, allegedly for this, because everybody's like, I have no idea why he got suspended. Sean McDermott today, I really can't speak about it, but you can assume whatever you want to assume. And then you've got Bills reporters and journalists saying, I got it on authority that it's not about that. And it's like, pretty sure it's about that.
I read a report earlier that said it was directly connected to that.
Adam Schefter reported yesterday that it was directly connected to that, and then nobody's come out since that to bring clarity, because when he did that, Elena Getzenberg from ESPN as well came out and said that it's most likely stemming from this, and then Tim Graham actually came out yesterday and said it's not. I've got a high level source, inside the building that says that they don't know what it's about. So there's a chance it's not about that.
Okay.
Allegedly. It's like,
Allegedly.
okay, well, what else could it be? Let's move on. Brandon Beane moved. This is the topic of the show, and I thought this was a fun topic for this episode before we get into the Texans real quick. Brandon Beane moved on from 5 important players this past offseason, actually 6, including Micah Hyde, who is not retired yet, but is not playing football at the moment. How has that worked out for the players that have been jettisoned? So we're talking about Jordan Poyer, Gabe Davis, Mitch Morse, Stephon Diggs, and who am I missing? Trey White and Tre'Davious White. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at that graphic right now. How has it worked out for those players, and how has it worked out for the Buffalo Bills so far this season, as my cursor is bouncing around between three monitors? There we go. So just so everybody's kind of up to speed, there was a graphic that came out today from PFF that Jordan Poyer has a PFF grade of 37.8, which is currently ranked 77th in the NFL amongst all 77 safeties that are active. Trey White has a PFF grade of 50.2, which is ranked 90th out of 97 cornerbacks. Gabe Davis has a PFF grade of 58, which is ranked 89th out of 122 wide receivers. And then I actually went and got the information from Jerry Ostrowski, who subscribes to PFF today. Stephon Diggs has a PFF grade of 74.3, which is ranked 24th amongst 122 wide receivers. Just for the conversation here for the next couple of minutes, Khalil Shakir has a PFF grade of 76, which is 17th. Now, I don't think there's a world yet where we're going to believe that Shakir is at the caliber or the level that Stephon Diggs is. I'm not saying that at some point in time, as Stephon ages out, that he's not going to reach that level. But right now, as it speaks, and their stats are pretty close, receptions and receiving yards. They're actually very, very close to each other. And then Mitch Morse has a PFF grade of 71.6, which is 8th amongst 32 centers. And to contrast that, Connor McGovern is a 68.1, which is 13th. So they're close, but in almost every other situation, Brandon Beane looks to have made the correct choice. And I know you've got a lot of positive feelings, as do I, for Brandon Beane. At first blush, thoughts?
Yeah, no, when you look at and I'll preface this by saying everyone who watches Hump Day or Code of Conduct or any of the shows that we've done, you know how I feel about a lot of these guys. Trey White, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, like a lot of these guys that we've moved on from.
Yeah.
Guess what? It was time.
It
was time. And again, as much as I love Jordan, I know Jordan is dealing with an injury, but that happened like midway through the game this past week. He's been, I don't know if it's the fit on defense, I know Miami obviously plays a completely different style of football, so I don't know if it's the fit on defense. I don't know if it's age slowing them down. I don't know what it is, but Jordan looks bad.
No, that's a fair statement for all players. Any player that leaves
Yeah.
the team and does worse, or goes to a new team and does better, scheme, fit, what they're asking him to do, it plays a huge role in that kind of stuff.
So you don't know which one it is. What I will say is either way, he looks bad this season. I think Trey White, we've seen this guy get cooked on primetime television 2 times this year. And it breaks my heart. As much as I love Jordan, I love Trey. Like there's there's something about Trey that I think Bills fans just,
he's endearing.
We love him. You know what I mean? We just love him. And
he can't be healthy yet. He can't be healthy yet, right?
He can't be. Because I don't think I've never thought Trey was a shutdown corner. Like that's not his strength, but he's been way better than what we've seen. So I just don't think I don't think that I agree with you. He can't be healthy, but again, he doesn't want to give himself excuses, so I'm not going to give him an excuse. He looks cooked right now, and I don't know what's happening, man, but I feel bad. Now, the only one that Brandon Beane let go that's doing the damn thing right now is my dog up in Chicago. I just want to make that point. I want everybody to understand what's happening up in Chicago. I think we all saw on primetime my dog get an interception. I just want to make sure y'all saw that. I just want to make sure.
We absolutely did. I mean, but when you think about, so Gabe Davis's numbers on the season are not good. Yeah, not good. And he's dropping footballs even still. So if you watched that Jaguars Texans game, which I did, like he dropped a ball or two in the end zone, and stuff like that. It's just, there's a time, and we've heard it. We actually heard it from Josh today, and we heard it from Stephon Diggs, that this is a business and these things happen. And the more you accept it and the longer that you play in this league, you realize that this is just how things work. The team is going to move on from guys at certain times. Tremaine Edmonds, it would be nice to have him probably on the team right now, just with all the injuries that we're dealing with. I mean, he was a solid player when he was here. I mean, he was injured a couple times, but nothing super super looming. It just came back down to, do you want to pay Tremaine Edmonds $17 million, which the Bills, I think that's what he got, right? Which the Bills didn't want to pay. The rest of these guys, I mean, it's just hard to believe. Which one is the most surprising? Jordan, Trey, Gabe Davis, in your opinion?
In my opinion, the most surprising would probably be Jordan.
I think so.
The reason why I say that is because he played at a pretty high level last year, and then on top of it, I think he's a smart player. Not that Trey and not that anybody else isn't smart, but I think Jordan uses his brain more than most understand. So that safety position, the way he plays the safety position, it's a lot of mental stuff for him. And I think that he does it, he mentally processes games kind of better than anybody I know. But this year, it doesn't look like it. This year, he's not moving the same. I know, he's getting cooked. And again, I know he's dealing with something right now. They didn't announce, him and his team hasn't announced it, so I'm not going to announce it. But I know he wasn't practicing today. Hopefully he plays Sunday.
Well, he wasn't in the game on Monday night much at all. I was watching for him, and
right. He went out because of the injury. He injured his shin.
Gotcha. I don't know what we're allowed to say or not say, but
right. No, that's why I'm like, okay, I'm done. I guess I quit.
Right. As much as we're going through stuff as a fan base, the Dolphins fan base is in a shambles. Like, they're talking.
Don't you love it?
Fire Greer, fire McDaniel, cut Tua, blow it all up.
Yeah,
trade
don't you love
Tyreek Hill. It's like, I'm like, man, that happened. That escalated quickly. Like, this is totally Ron Burgundy with a beer. Like that escalated quickly. Like,
I love it.
I don't hate it.
I love it because the Dolphins fans are like, and maybe it's because obviously they're our rival, but they're the worst fans in the league, man. Like, I even like Kansas City fans more than Dolphins fans. I like Jets fans more than Dolphins fans. Like, they're just terrible, man. Like,
I think you're right.
They're terrible.
I think you're right. So we got a couple more minutes. What time do I got to get you out of here? Because I'm taking all your time, and we've still got.
No, I'm good today. We can go overtime. Me and Sterles go live at 9. So
very cool.
As long as we out here by like 8:58, I'm good.
it'll be before that. I don't want to keep you longer than normally what you need to be kept. So as far as going into this week's game, the injury report. The Buffalo Bills on Wednesday, today, the day that this is being recorded, did have practice today. Josh Allen was a full participant with his left hand. He still has that giant thing on his left hand. Terrell Bernard actually was limited, but was in a regular jersey. The non-contact jersey was removed. He said that there's some tests that he's got to go through, some things that he's got to do, but it looks positive that he could potentially play. Now, we have seen the Buffalo Bills jockey like this before. I think game planning, chess playing, right, where it's the player looks like he's going to come back, and then you come to find out when you get the inactives list, he's on the inactives and he doesn't play. So I don't know, but we'll see. Deion Dawkins would be a huge, devastating situation if Deion did not play in this football game, in my opinion. He has a hamstring issue that he suffered in the Ravens game. Austin Johnson left the game with an oblique, did not participate. Taron Johnson for him was limited, so he was in a non-contact jersey. Reconfirmed, I don't remember who asked the question, that he had a fractured forearm. 2 weeks ago against the Jaguars, Josh went up to dab. I think I told you to dab him up, and like he was totally protecting his right arm. And then I think there was even a video from this past game where it looked like he was kind of like keeping people away from that arm too. So clearly he's struggling there still a little bit. Quentin Morris, shoulder, full participant. Taylor Rapp, concussion. You saw him kind of working on the sideline, did not participate. He's still in concussion protocol. Khalil Shakir is a big loss if he does not play. Ankle, did not participate. And then Mitch Trubisky. When you look at that list, I mean, it's Deion Dawkins and Khalil Shakir, right?
It's Deion Dawkins, Khalil Shakir, and Taron Johnson. I know Taron didn't play last week.
No, I'm saying the biggest people that we're going to miss in this football game, normal starters.
That's what I'm saying, Taron Johnson. I mean, he didn't play last week. It says limited today. Yeah, but I don't know if he's just because it's limited doesn't mean that it's necessarily good enough for him to play now. So, like this game coming up, if we don't have Taron Johnson, like I think we saw against the Ravens this past week, what happens when you don't have the best nickel corner in the game, and that's what he is. That's what he is. So, I'm worried about that, man. And on the flip, I do want to say somebody who's not on there who I think might still really be injured. If you look at that wide receiver room, it's going to hurt if Khalil Shakir doesn't play. But I think Curtis Samuel is actually really still bothered by that toe turf. I know it's not on the injury report. They're not reporting it.
You might be right.
I think there's a reason why they're not using him the way that we anticipated using him. Like there was a clear plan that they had in place that Joe Brady laid out, Sean McDermott laid out, Josh Allen laid out. We saw it in training camp. And they're not using him anything like that. So I think there's an issue there. Like I saw somebody the other day say like he's just an overpaid Isaiah McKenzie now. And right now that's true. Like right now. But I really think that that toe turf is hurting him, man. I really do.
Yeah, you might be onto something. I think we've seen one of those types of screens in the last 3 weeks that we saw in preseason. Sean McDermott, I don't know if you caught his comments today, but he kind of pushed back on the media a little bit. He said, I know that you guys love to like pay attention to who's getting the ball more and who's not. And, he was inferring and then begin to slot them 1, 2, and 3 and stuff like that. And I didn't like the comment. The ball is going to find the right person. And I was like, what? That's a very Zen thing to say, right? It just the ball is going to. So I know that the play dictates based on the defensive coverage where the ball is supposed to go. And Joe Brady is very much, put in place a defense to even do that more so to give Josh that this is where the ball goes. And we've removed the greedy dude that needs the ball all the time. So now Josh can be free to throw it wherever he wants, but it doesn't. One of the, how do I want to say this? So one of the things that we talked about before this season started was everybody eats is a great concept if people can get open. What if they can't? And against the Ravens, that was part of the problem. Dudes couldn't get open. So when that happens, what do you mean the ball's going to go where it's supposed to? It's going to find the person it's supposed to find, or whatever. However he worded it, it was odd.
My thing is, I love the whole concept of everybody eats. I love it.
Me too.
I think the whole, and I know, I'm sure most fans of the Bills do. But the thing that really irks me and bothers me about it is like, everybody can eat, but you got to have a guy. You got to have a guy that just talent-wise can match Josh Allen. You need a guy that, sometimes when the game is on the line, is like, okay, we got to be better than these guys. And right now, if the chemistry of the team isn't going, if the vibes aren't up, if some guys are down on themselves because of the last drive, sometimes you need a guy for Josh that's going to step up. And Shakir did it for a moment. Like he made that big play when Josh was going to the sideline, but you needed somebody to step up and say, okay, I'm here, Josh. Kincaid didn't do it. Knox didn't do it. Cook, I think James Cook probably had his most, blah game of the season so far. I mean, I think that's fair to say. Nobody stepped up for Josh. And I think, and I'm not saying that to cover for Josh. I think Josh didn't quite play well. I think that, not horribly. I don't want to put the blame on him in that way, but I just don't think that was a game that, even for Josh, he couldn't turn on the Superman that we normally see him turn on.
Right.
It was just it wasn't a good night for us. So that's why I said moving forward, I'm just like, all right, on to the Texans.
On to the next one. Yeah, like I said, there was a sign of life there in the second half. We all know they had the opportunity to pull within 4 points, 17-21, and then obviously that play call that should never have been called. And not to mention, even if the play call was played or the play call was called the way that it was, I said this on the Aftermath show that I started this week. Somebody need to instruct them. Curtis, if this thing gets blown up, just fall down. Don't hot potato the ball to Josh Allen. And Josh, if the ball gets hot potatoed to you and like it's getting blown up, just the phrase I used was pull a Peyton Manning. Just Peyton Manning in the open field, fall on the ground, right? Because that's what Peyton would do. If there was nobody around in the block for him, he would just fall. He would just like a fish, poof, hit the ground like a statue. And that's what he should have done. And nobody did it. And it just, because they could have, it would have been third down. They would have had 3rd and 9 at that point. 3rd and 10.
You're right, but I guess I just can't get past the decision in the first place.
You're wrong.
You know what I mean?
You're not wrong. So, you're not wrong. Yeah, you're right.
Like I get you are absolutely right, Josh. If nobody's blocking, it ain't there. The guy's not open. Either throw it out of bounds or fall. I get it, but there is never. Let me say it this way: like there is never a situation in the National Football League in any point in any game where you need to run wildcat with Josh Allen. And by wildcat, I mean having a wide receiver or a running back getting the snap from the center, where Josh Allen is out wide as a wide receiver or not in the play at all. You know why I say that? Because the most efficient play in the NFL right now is a Josh Allen quarterback draw or a Josh Allen sneak. Why would you put the worst decision, man?
The icing on the cake to everything that you're saying and that we're talking about, and we'll move on from here to the Texans game. I don't know how we're tangent running, which is great. We're having is the fact that if you go back and you watch the film, Mac Hollins was the one down the field and he wasn't open. And one person was like, "Oh no, like he was about to break open." I was like, "No, he broke open because the defender like discontinued his pursuit when he saw the fumble." And they were like, "Oh." So he was getting ready to heave the ball to Mac Hollins, who wasn't open. So what are we talking about, right? Just run out of bounds. Like just fall down, run out of bounds. Oh well. Let's move on. Go ahead.
We can move on, but I also this is one pet peeve about Sean McDermott that like it's growing increasingly more frustrating for me every year. Like he does not take responsibility for these things. I understand that you're letting your coordinators coach. But at the end of the day, these type of like these moments fall on the head coach, and you can blame the special teams last year in the playoffs with the DeMar Hamlin sneak on the punt. You can blame the special teams for 13 seconds where they didn't kick it out of bounds and then the defense gave it up. And you can blame, he blamed everybody. We done fired everybody. The defensive coordinator's gone, got a new one. Offensive coordinator's gone. We fired him. The one before him didn't like him, went to the Giants. Like you can't keep blaming everybody. You can't cut everybody, trade everybody. At some point, McDermott, you got to stand up and say, damn it, you know what? I messed up. And that's on me.
Or at least, as much as I've had a conversation with Joe Brady, and we're going to talk about it, as we said post-game. I'm going to have a conversation with Joe Brady. We're going to talk about those moments and those situations and blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to give Joe Brady a talking to. He could have very easily said, I looked up, saw that Curtis Samuel, I knew we had the play, right? I knew that we had this play in the book. And if we got the right look or the right moment, we were going to call it. That wasn't the right moment. I looked up. I didn't hear it come in on the headphones, right? So he could have at least played that part. I didn't hear it come in on the headphones. I looked up. Curtis Samuel was the quarterback. Josh was spread out wide. I should have called a timeout, right? Like he had to know that he had to know it was happening.
So, but he had to know. You don't call a play like that, and your head coach doesn't
know.
But on top of it, if you live with it, say you did it. We did the play. Just man up to it. Just say, you know what? Look, the play came in. Like you just said, I thought it was the look that we were looking for to have that. It didn't work out. That was on me. Don't throw Joe. We're all looking. We know Joe Brady calls the offense. But
Yeah.
you're the head coach, man. And for years now, you push the blame on somebody else instead of yourself when you are the one guiding the ship. And at some point is going to come back to bite. Like, he's not going to be protected forever. I feel like right now he's
Yeah.
protected because the stadium's coming and
Oh,
we
yeah.
haven't missed the
No, yep.
playoffs and all
Yep.
that. But at some point, even coaches who continually make the playoffs get fired.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, let's move on because we are getting a little long in the tooth now. So moving to this football game this weekend in Houston, and I think what I'm most excited for this game is to get this game behind us, to get the Stephon Diggs game behind us finally. God forbid we meet them in the playoffs, which is very, very possible. But the Stephon Diggs game is finally upon us. A lot of stories will be written, win or loss, for the Buffalo Bills and the Texans, for that matter. I heard today, I was listening to something today, and they had a Texans guy on there, and he made the statement that if the Texans lose to the Bills in this game, that it'll be one of the most embarrassing moments. And I think it's because of the trade that they made for Steph, right? They went and got Steph from the Bills, and the Bills come in and beat them. But at the end of the day, how are we feeling about this matchup? I'm going to let you go first. How are you feeling about the Bills versus the Texans down there? And it doesn't have to be about Stephon Diggs. That's just, obviously part of the narrative. Yeah.
I think just looking at it right now, so Wednesday, injury reports, what we saw last week from both teams and what we know. I think right now I'm a little nervous just because the Bills are banged up, and I think the Texans are getting healthier. Mixon is back. I think I saw
Mixon did not play practice today. Mixon nor Dameon Pierce practice today. Neither of them.
Okay. I feel like I didn't read that he practiced, but I felt like I read something that says that he was a non-participant, but like he's trending to play. So I don't know. We'll see. But even if not, I just think overall, if you look at their report, there's a lot of guys, and by a lot, I mean the guys that we wish were coming back for the Bills, they're coming back for the Texans. So
right.
I think from that standpoint, it's almost like, I hope it's not what we saw Sunday. I think what we saw Sunday was another team that's on the caliber of the Bills, healthy, go up against a caliber of team as the Bills unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I think that's will happen Sunday with the Texans if I don't know. So I'm just hoping that that's not the case. But if we can get a couple of our guys to kind of speed up that process by Sunday and play, then I'll feel a lot more confident. But right now, I'll be honest, I'm a little just injury wise. I think we're a better team than them. I think Josh is better. I think they have the better wide receiver core, but I think top to bottom overall and coaching style, they have a good coach. But I think Sean McDermott knows how to do things with this defense. So it just comes down to health.
I feel like from watching the Texans so far this year, and obviously I've been watching because of Steph Diggs, right? Wanting just to kind of see how he's playing and kind of keeping track, not every game, but at least keeping track of what's going on. I feel like the Texans are a team that can be had. The Jacksonville Jaguars almost got them last weekend. Now, I'm not saying that they played their best game. Obviously, we lost to the Ravens. We didn't play our best game, but I think the Bills coming off of that, I think there's an opportunity here for the Bills to bounce back. I think they respond well to stuff like this. You don't see the Bills drop several games in a row often. Obviously, last year, the first half of the season, they went through some stuff. But generally, this team responds when they get beaten, specifically when they get beaten badly, which does also not happen very often. So I feel like this is a team that can be had. It's going to come down to, is Khalil Shakir healthy and who's healthy on defense? If we can get Terrell Bernard back, it's going to make a huge difference. If not, you're just basically clawing into your couch cushion, hoping that Balin Spector and Dorian Williams can hang on, right? And that their heads aren't spinning kind of the way, because Stroud can beat you on the ground too, right? He doesn't run as much as Lamar or like Josh Allen, but he can beat you if you let him. And he can throw the football, and Nico Collins, and they're supposed to get Tank Dell back, to your point about getting guys back. So at the end of the day, though, I feel like the Bills can win this football game. So stat line prediction for Josh Allen. Let me get rid of this other screen. Stat line.
Can I say how much I love CJ Stroud though?
Oh yeah. Well, I love the fact that the Ohio State Buckeyes finally put a quarterback in the NFL that can play football.
But I mean, he's a baller, man. Like, he doesn't make me nervous like a Lamar. He doesn't make me nervous like Patrick Mahomes, but he will. I think in the upcoming years, he's going to develop into something serious. And I think when you have that conversation of like the top 5 coming up,
I agree.
I think it's going to be the Josh and Mahomes and Burrow.
Yeah.
But CJ Stroud is going to find his way in there. And listen, that dude is serious. But stat line and score predictions, I'm going to go with I'm going to say we win because I believe in the Bills. You know what I'm saying? I believe in Josh Allen. Like I said, health-wise, I'm a little nervous, but outside of that, I'm going to go with the Bills. So I'm going to say it's not going to be as explosive as probably everybody wants. I think whoever wins this game is going to have to play some decent defense. So I'm going to say this one's going to be one of the lower scoring for both teams. It's going to be one of those like 21-17 type deals. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be emotional. I think Steph is going to eat because they're going to force the ball to him. With it being the Bills, he'll probably come up with so if you got him on your fantasy team, play him. You know what I mean? He's going to get 10. He's going to get at least 10 targets. So play him. But I'm going to go with Josh. I think Josh will have probably like 270 in the air, 2 touchdowns.
So did you? Oh, you put a score prediction out there. Was it 24 to what?
I said 21-17.
21-17. So I think the opposite. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I would take the over in this football game. I feel like the Buffalo Bills and the Texans are going to. I think defensively speaking for both teams, I think there's an aspect of some back and forth kind of as far as that goes, some entertaining football, if you will. So I've got the Buffalo Bills in this game 33 to maybe 27. So within a score, within 1 touchdown, 1 possession. Josh Allen, I think he's going to get over 300 in this football game. I think he throws for about 340, 350 somewhere. Because I think for Josh too, I think as much as Steph wants the ball, I think there's an aspect because Josh has that dog in him, right? Josh, just like Steph has that dog in him, Josh has that dog in him too. And let's not forget the last time Josh Allen played in that stadium, everything was right there in front of him and he kind of pissed it all away. So I think there's an aspect of like returning back to that stadium, playing against that team, kind of coming back and doing against, to come back from that playoff loss that they had in 2019. But that's what I got. So go ahead.
I agree with you, but I will take it a step further. You're right. He has that dog in him. But I also think Josh Allen is petty in a good way. I love him. I think Josh Allen is petty. So I think it's one of those things. Say Joe and I are both completely wrong as far as the score being close. Like we both kind of predicted a 4-point win for the Bills, just with different scores. I'm going to tell you, if the Bills get up on them, do not expect this to be one where Josh comes out early third. Like it might be mid fourth.
Right.
If we do blow them out, the pettiness that Josh Allen will display in Houston, I'm just telling you right now, get your popcorn ready. Josh Allen is one of the pettiest, funniest dudes. And so I'm just telling you, if Josh gets a moment, he doesn't match up against Dig. It doesn't happen that way. But if Josh gets a moment to embarrass his new team, I'm going to just tell you, get your popcorn ready.
On that note, everybody get your popcorn ready for 1 o'clock if you're in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. Get your popcorn ready for that football game. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the Hump Day Hotline on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. My name is Joe Miller. That's Jay Spence the King. Tomorrow, Jerry Estrossi is going to take you through all of your pregame preview look type of stats and whatnot for this football game. You want to make sure that you tune in to the Big O Show tomorrow on Thursday, 8 p.m. live right here on YouTube. Right after this show, Jay Spence the King and our guy, Sturls for the girls, doing the chop up. Where is it on the Rumblings Network? Is that where they're going to find that?
Network.
Yep. So 9 o'clock. So don't go far. So go to the bio break, grab a drink, and then come back down and whatever you got to do.
Grab a drink.
Yeah, go grab a drink. But for me, for John, for Jerry, for Jay Spence the King, we love you guys. We appreciate. Yeah.
Wait, real quick. Let Jerry know I wasn't joking. I got a diss track dropping about the Big O. It's coming out. Let him know. It's going down. Go ahead. Be out. I just want to make sure he know it's not a game. He about to catch this diss record.
That's funny. For me, for John, for Jerry, for Jay Spence the King, we love you guys. We appreciate you. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.